Hello everybody, we've taken a look at what the Farmer's Almanac is saying for the winter forecast and calling for that brisk and drier than normal. Looks like it could be rather interesting if that comes through. I think a lot of folks might be saying, yeah, nice break from all the snow we had last year, but a lot of folks still want lots of snow. I've got another look here, and I've been watching the science here behind what's going on with the latest weather patterns and taking a close look at what's going on here for the winter forecast. So here's what I found out. I've dug up some information. I want to share this with you. So here's my official winter forecast coming up. It does look like we will have a La Nina weather pattern. It's already in place, but it is what we call a weak La Nina. There's either La Nina or El Nino, and this is what a La Nina weather pattern means. We have ocean waters that are cooler in the eastern Pacific as opposed to the warmer ocean waters with the El Nino, and so what you'll see here across the northwest here is a variable jet stream. This is that river of air that brings the moisture in, and in general, a La Nina weather pattern means wetter conditions here in the north and west. I don't think it's going to set up exactly like this. It may be a little bit further to the north, and so, in fact, let's take a look here. I want to show you, as we zoom on in here, I've tracked some details on what past weak La Ninas are like in Boise. And so here's what I came up with. Boise winters, on average, this is December, January, and February. If you add up the precipitation, we typically get 3.81 inches of moisture, as it shows right here. That's the average. But if you take a look at all the weak La Ninas we've had, and you average all those together, we average about a little over 4.5 inches of moisture, or 20% more total precipitation during a weak La Nina for the Boise areas. That's what I found out in my research. As far as snow goes, we averaged, on a typical year, about 20 inches of snow. Last year we had 39.1, and the most we've had is 50. So last year was certainly well above average. The average of all weak La Ninas is 25 inches of snow, 24% above where we typically have it. So here's what the National Weather Service has for some of their charts here, and I want to show you a couple of the main ones as far as precipitation goes. Now, when you look at this chart here, it talks about the green being moist and the brown being dry. Okay, now when we say that, really what it is there's three categories we're looking at here. Three things can happen as far as precipitation goes. It can either be above average, at average, or below average. And without any type of bias at all, we have a 1/3 chance of getting any one of those categories. That's 33%. So you look at this 33 right here, that's this line. Okay, this is the 33 line, which means in this white region here, there's equal chances of above normal precipitation, below normal precipitation, or normal precipitation. So you really can't hang your hat on anything in this area. But when we get into this deeper green here, we're going about 40% chance of getting above average precipitation. So this right in here tends to be more moist where you see the green, and this tends to be drier. And it, depending on the deeper browns you see here in Florida, you see more of that drier weather. I want to show you, as we take a closer inspection here, again, what this really means is where we have the chances of getting that precipitation. Up north here, it is more likely wetter than average for this region, and it does encompass northern Idaho. So from the Salmon River northward, the snowpack could do very good. Here again, equal chances of getting wet, dry, or average precipitation, and then more likely drier than average here in the desert southwest and all across the southern tier. You see the northern tier of the U.S. where we have a better chance of getting more precipitation. What about the temperatures? Let's combine the two now. When we take a look at the temperature probability, you see this B up here, the same story here, equal chances of having below normal temperatures, average temperatures, or above average temperatures. In the white region here, it's much more favorable. We see this 50% chance now of getting above average precipitation instead of that neutral line there, that 33, where you could have anything happen. So it is likely we're drier, I should say, above normal temperatures down to the south here, and for up in Idaho, we're kind of right in the middle there. The southern part of the state looks like it could be above average, and the bottom, or I should say the northern part of the state here, looks like we may have a better chance of getting what we would say is a colder than normal weather, and that's where the precipitation is. If you put the two together, it is the Montana area. We have a real good chance of getting some of that heavier snow coming in. So more likely colder than average here up north. This is the Panhandle of Idaho, and wetter than normal if you remember in this region. So it could be very snowy winter for places like Montana and heading towards North Dakota as well. These locations could be under the gun, while further to the south, more likely warmer than average, most most likely warmer than average way down to the south. So what does it mean for southern Idaho? Here's the Treasure Valley. We're kind of on the fringe. The earlier forecast had this warmer weather further to the north, and the new forecast has it further to the south. If that trend continues, we may end up with below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation, or close to average. That would be a snowier year. Maybe not as snowy as last year, but that would be a snowier year. Right now, it does look like we could be a little bit warmer than normal. If this is the case, it's not significantly warmer than normal. What would tend to happen is we would have maybe not as many storms as last year, but we could have very similar numbers because of that strong jet stream coming on in. The higher elevations could get significant snow, while the lower elevations will probably get a few more rainstorms mixed in as opposed to last year when it was snow on every storm that came in. So this is my official Idaho winter forecast here. This is what I'm generally expecting. For Boise, the average snow is 20. I think we'll go with the average of all of the week La Niñas, around 25 inches of snow. And a general summary is not quite as many storms as last year, but more than average, and maybe more storms with rain than we had last year, where we change over to rain. But that still means significant precipitation for the higher elevations.